All right. Well, thank you so much for being here. We have Tamara Edwards from TE and Co.
Hey, how are
We
you?
are a communications agency, and so we had a great, obviously, discussion about your career and what you're doing today on the Full Length podcast. But just wanted to do a check-in with you on what you're seeing as far as coronavirus and what advice you're giving to your clients around that.
Yeah, happy to be here. We had so much fun on
Yeah.
the podcast recording. So good conversation. It's fun to just sort of go on that journey. So COVID hit. What are we in week 6 now?
Yeah.
In terms of response, I've really personally, professionally struggled with if I stay home or if I don't. I always see myself as sort of an active member of my community, and so that's been really hard personally and professionally. So in terms of client relationships, the first week, people really froze, many froze, and that
Right.
was okay. I was okay with that from an external communication standpoint. From an internal communication standpoint, I actually templated and put out on social, but really wrote to existing clients, previous clients, people in my network that I knew I
That's
could
super
support
helpful.
at the time to internal communications will always be a priority. Like if you didn't do it now, please do it. And by internal, I mean an email from your CEO, from your HR director, someone, give your managers a heads up, tell them what's going on. How is this going to affect your business, your hours, their pay, their salary, their workstations, right? These are very sensitive things. A smart guy named Herc Christie, who I helped on his personal brand last year. He, workstations, their schedule, and their pay. How is it going to affect them? You need to be communicating that consistently. And what I found is that people don't want to say too much because it might change. And so limiting language is okay. One thing that our governor of Illinois did, I think, really well was he sort of framed things up in a really smart way and said, to us when he was telling us to stay, the stay-at-home order, he said, "I'm going to give you the truth, and I know that you can handle it. And this might change, and I might have to overhaul this idea or this strategy, but here's everything that I can give you right now. This is what I know." And you can do that in a smart way and still maintain leadership and structure. Uncertainty will create an environment of lack of productivity or decreased productivity. We know that through mergers and acquisitions. We knew that, anybody who studies motivation knows this, right? So internal communications, crank that up. On the onset, external communications, some of them dialed it down. Other people that I work with, which you're familiar with, saw it as an opportunity. And so that sort of became my sort of part 2 recommendation for all of my clients, which were, again, figure out something to say internally, externally. Now let's communicate those same initiatives out, or those same updates. How is this going to affect your business? How is this going to affect your community, your buyers, your shoppers, whatever it is? And then the other piece of this puzzle, for the external communication side, was actually I took a page from an organization you're familiar with, Sip Science,
Mhm.
which said, what is your campaign? What is your opportunity? You don't need to be opportunistic in the negative sense, but
Right.
how are you as a business going to leverage and create opportunity to support or help others? So sort of my sort of talking point here, and what I've again articulated to my clients or created, for the ones I'm a little bit more hands-on with, are campaigns, fundraising campaigns, community campaigns. Move information, move people, tell people what you're doing. If you're a manufacturing organization and you have retooled, or Koval's a great example. I was at Whole Foods yesterday, and there's a distillery, not Koval, I was looking for it, but a distillery making hand sanitizer. That is excellent external communications, and
Yeah.
it's service because, in my own words, in my opinion, it creates a benchmark for other distilleries or other people in your industry or in your community to now meet, observe, take note, think that's really great, good for them. Here's what we're going to do. And so those two pieces together must happen. Absolutely must happen. I'm not letting you off the hook. I'm not letting anybody off the hook. You've got to be doing both. And once you decide on those, just keep it going. Keep up a cadence and structure. If you send a weekly internal email, have it be every Monday at 10 a.m. Have it be, whatever it is. And
Consistency.
your creative campaign, every Wednesday or every week, keep people updated on the story of how that's evolving for you.
And let's talk about Sip Science because that was an interesting
Okay.
work that we did there. So our core customer are bartenders, venues, restaurants. And so when it hit, we really wanted to be helpful. We really wanted to do something. And our business model also had to shift a little bit and be put on hold to some extent because we're inside bars and restaurants. And so we really wanted to figure out a way to help. And so the GoFundMe campaign was the way to do that. And it actually, I think it was a great way for us, since we are a new company, to connect with our end users and people that we're going to be working with every single day.
Yeah, so that was brainstormed from the co-CEO, well, actually the both CEOs, Ian and Chris, and you and I worked on it. So look, I can come up with stuff all day that's going to help your business. I who doesn't love coming up with ideas and seeing what sticks? But at the end of the day, it needs to be sort of there needs to be a consensus among your leadership. And so what SIP Science came up with, and we were so excited to communicate it with, and of course we strategized and came up with ideas to add some bells and whistles. What we came up with, was this GoFundMe to support hospitality workers through it's called, what is it, the Bartenders Emergency Protection, BEEP, Emergency Assistant Protection. It's BEEP through I can't even remember what it's called.
USBG, yeah.
USBG.
Yeah.
The Bartenders Guild Foundation. And so what that does is provides emergency response initiatives, funds for applicants, bartenders who are affected by COVID, by the pandemic. So all of that to say is this was a way for a pre-revenue startup, pre-launch app company, technology company, to leverage the power of communications and leverage the network of everybody on board, whether, I don't know enough about who the investors are for SIP Science or who the other stakeholders are, but we used social media to leverage that. So it wasn't just press release, happy day, it's reinforced completely across social media, not to be SIP Science, SIP Science, SIP Science, SIP Science. Sure, we were the what is the right word? We were the messenger. We were the steward of this message, which was provide funds for BEEP. There's actually, we did even brought press directly to BEEP that SIP Science wasn't even mentioned.
Yeah.
And that's okay. It wasn't about us. And so this was, I think, really smart because it really came from Chris to leverage every single person's social media presence that we possibly could that is involved in what we're doing and just get that buzz going to ultimately click back to the GoFundMe page to support bartenders and hospitality workers who need relief. So as a result, we, on the comm side, I'm still pushing for a national story. Who doesn't want the Today Show? I've seen it happen. It's not impossible. But we did local TV in Phoenix, Arizona. We did radio in Pittsburgh. We did radio in Austin, Texas. We've been featured in Food and Wine. We did local TV in Las Vegas. When you in our Google search, we're one of the first ones that come up for certain searches around perhaps bartenders, searching for something. So it sort of hit. If we thought about the audience here, we sort of hit all pieces, right? Earning credibility in the media, building those relationships. Fine, that's great for me on the PR side. It's going to make my job easier when SIP Science is, ready, set, launch, which we're basically in right now. But also bartenders searching for relief. We're creating more and more access. And the streamline there, the click funnel, so to speak, was GoFundMe, BEEP, USBG Foundation. And that's been our messaging pretty much for the last 5 weeks. And so very, very easy campaign to do from the comfort of your own home. It didn't require much. It required a smart PR strategy, which if you don't have those resources, it's 3 or 4 steps, right?
Yeah, right? And I think just from us as a startup, we want to be proactive, and this was a way for us to be proactive. We didn't want it to be business as usual because we knew what was happening was so different and, really difficult for these bartenders. And so it was a good way for us to feel like we were proactive and not business as usual. So it was good. And we're still raising funds, by the way. So if you want to donate, you still can.
Yeah.
But I love what you said about the internal communications. And so last question I want to ask you around that is, what if you don't have the answers though? What if you don't know what's going to happen to people's pay?
Okay. Limiting language is better than no language at all.
Yeah. Last
year, I was like one of probably 50 people working on a merger and acquisition. And so while I was learning about it, I held a few meetings like me personally with folks at Ernst & Young, just to get the sense. I wanted to create a to-do list so I fully understood where I can be proactive in just contributing to the communication side. So one of the things that really became apparent to me was getting as much information out there. I mean, this was even before the staff knew, and this is a very large company. It's a global organization that we were working on. So I knew before the staff knew. That was weird for me because I like view myself very much as staff in a lot of ways. And I like that role. So it was, I mean, it could be anything. It could be a weekly newsletter, an update. It could be a YouTube, upload from your cell phone. It could be a blog. It could be a text, or your boss, the CEO or the HR director calling everyone just to check in. I think that would actually be the highest touch you can be, the best. But again, going back to what you're going to say is, you can use limiting language as long as you're saying something. There's a difference between, hey, Karen, I'm not sure that our business is going to survive, so start looking for a new job, right? That might not be truthful. Like, that's so much uncertainty, right? So you want to say, hey, we're going to do everything we can to make it through this. And I'm committed, right? Show where your heart's at. Tell people what you're doing. I'm a startup and I rely heavily on freelancers regularly. I have a team of freelancers that I lean on. I'm not their sole income. But I sent an email to my entire team and I said, hey, we're good. We're switching. We're full public affairs now. Strategy's on hold. Everybody, let's chat. And so we've had weekly meetings. I've had one-on-ones with my team. So, I'm taking a page from my own book on, Friday, we're doing a virtual dinner party with everyone, all of our freelancers. And there's 6 of us, and we're all women and we're all badass, but just something, let people know what's going on. And it doesn't need to be so intense. Even taking another page from Sip Science, I was really impressed with the two CEOs' decision to hold a Sip Science happy hour over Zoom. Just get people in the same room. And
it was actually really fun. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. I thought it was
from the regular day.
Yeah, it was smart to sort of just be together in the same room when we're all just business as usual, because the last 5 weeks for everybody has been lots and lots of critical thinking around, even for us in our relationships with our clients. The way I would describe it is, we are strategists. We do low and slow, smart and steady, piece by piece strategies. So over the course of time, you have a very, a very brand new business, a very brand new comms portfolio, whatever it is that we're working on. And so we went from having like these slow moving strategies to suddenly a crisis response.
Yeah.
And then everybody, just knocked over my thing. And then everybody went over and wanted to sort of restructure how they're going to launch or approach things. So for us, it was 3 things all at once. And so, I mean, that's okay. I think that's what most businesses are experiencing in terms of decision making. So, you still have to communicate. You can still kind of let people know where we're at on things. You got to reprioritize. So
sure. And you put out some great materials around this for free, really great content. So where can people find that?
My favorite channel is LinkedIn. So I'm just Tamara Edwards, TAMARA EDWARDS, which I'm sure you'll tag me.
Yeah.
LinkedIn's my favorite. I probably post too much, but I think somebody in London at 5 a.m. might read my thing that I post at random hours. So no, seriously. So I'm on Instagram. I have multiple pages on Instagram. You can follow me in personal. That's where I have more fun. Let's see, sort of just my day-to-day.
Some great templates and tools that people can use now and even, after this. So
yeah, thank you.
Go check her out. Yeah.
We're keeping going. We've got some new product offerings. I'm always willing to give away any of the good stuff that we have for free. We want to be a resource. We want to be in service. Not everyone has the luxury of having a full-time comms director, or even someone like me who can kind of come in and sort of this like part-time basis, right?
Yeah.
So
cool.
Yeah, we're really
all right.
happy.
Thanks for sharing. Super valuable this time. Thank you.